GMBF is the potential minus the internal interference, and we always follow this. So my humble request to each one of you to live in peace and not in pieces, and gather everyone together for benefit of the society. And GMBF is consistently doing this from last 17 years in order to bring the networking platform for all of us.
Without further much ado, I'd like to start the session because I'm sure you must be excited to hear about our members and know them.
My name is Atul Sadadekar, originally from Mumbai. We have a company called Sada Impex based in Ras Al Khaimah Free Zone. What we do is we are in the field of specialty fibers and yarns, which go as raw materials for technical textiles.
I'm Ekta Sivlani. I'm member of GMBF from last 1 year. I'm from education industry. I hold two sections. First is I am into public speaking and personality development trainer, where I trained students, teenagers, the students or the people who are facing issues in the interview. We train them. Second part of my profession, my company is we provide the coaching classes.
I'm Gomdi Sitaraman, founder of Arogya Yatra, where we ensure that not only the employees, but even you, who is responsible for the entire organization.
Codalab Solutions, which is an IT company and providing various solutions and services to your organizations. Our main focus is insurance. I'm
Praveen, under Pro Connect Development. I support for new entrants in the UAE and Gulf market, mainly active in oil and gas. A major focus is on approvals or pre-qualifications in ADNOC and ADVIA, which is Abu Dhabi major market.
I'm an investment banker based in Dubai the past 18 years. And we do a lot of loan syndication, startup funding, and mergers and acquisition, and cross-border also. We also have a small fund which invests in Indian stock market to the extent of 25 crores.
And we started in 2009 when the market was down. But now, we started with HVAC controls. We are a very technical based company. But now we have increased our focus to renewables, that is solar energy.
So our journey starts with getting deeper into your business, understanding strategy, business model, people, process, technology, data, come up with basically the gap analysis against the best in class, and develop solutions giving basically, enhancing your profitability and cash flow.
So myself, Pooja Bhosle, and my company is Munch Bees. It's a perfect snacking solution for corporate companies, for events and for individuals.
So Vivek ji, as a SME owner, I see that if you say SME, there's a business owner, there's business, there are assets of the business and people in the business. I think this is how I describe a typical SME, and everywhere insurance is required. So let's do one by one and explore this area further. Sure. Let's start with the business owner. Ideally, we want you to focus on, there are many things people know and there are many things people don't know. So if you tell us what usually people know and what they don't know in all these four sectors, starting with the SME owner. Sure. So if I say SME owner approaching you for different insurance opportunities, what would you tell them?
Surely. First of all, it's always said that insurance is something which is not understood or very confusing, because insurance, like many bank documents, is a very huge document. And one thing is always seen, many people are not aware of what are the risks. See, today what we will try to, during our conversation, what we will try to sort of do is what needs to be covered, why needs to be covered, and how it can be covered. I think if we answer these three questions, I think this will, they will have lot of takeaways. And I'll give you one simple formula, right? A simple formula for all SME owners, whatever business you are in. All of us know container, right? All of us know contents, because in container there is contents. And if I have to tell you in reality, This is all insurance all about. We insurance people make it little complicated by giving some technological jargons, this, that. How is it? How is it? Say for example, now we are in this room. This room is a container. This room has lot of tables, machinery, all contents, people are there. So we are actually in the risk of a container and content. We are in this hotel. This whole hotel is a container, and all the contents, the property, people, and then subsequent liability is what insurance is all about. Let us take about same thing, motor car. Motor car is a container. Anything in the motor car is a content. Talk about big aeroplane. Aeroplane is a container and content. See, because it is very important to visualize what is my risk. In fact, when I initially started interviewing people and bringing people from freshers, MBA, they were MBAs, they knew about insurance. And couple of times when I had gone with them to the clients, and they said, you know, this is what the insurance is, we do property insurance, we do this, we do that. Frankly speaking, there was hardly any kind of interaction, because what people wanted to know is what are the risks that I have and how it can be covered. That is why I say container and content. If you imagine your business, say for example, now today we had about 11 businesses out here. So every business has a container, every business has contents, and if you identify the container is at risk, the content is at risk, and how do we take care of that, that will be a very good insurance solution. So that is how we are able to sort of perceive a risk. Chirantan.
Thank you, Vivekji, for that guideline. And as a business owner, if you go back and start visualizing everything in the form of container and contents, it will definitely give us some direction to where to start, and then we can explore that conversation with our insurance advisor. But coming back to a specific question, let's say I'm a business owner, and what are the insurances available for the business owner? My little bit of knowledge is, so let's say I'm in the business, I've done Keyman insurance. Because I'm an integral part of the business, if I'm gone, the business might suffer. Is there anything else for a business owner that you would recommend? Something like Keyman, is there anything available in the market?
Absolutely. I would utter three letters. PPL. PPL is insurance. P stands for property, because every business has property. Every business have people, and every business have liability. So if we are able to identify property, if we are able to identify the people, the resources, and the liability that we carry because of doing our activity, and if we are able to take care of these activities, insurance can be taken care of. So say for example, starting with you, because Chirantan is in the business of moving. Chirantan is also in the business of providing services, leather services. First of all, during the introduction he mentioned that he had a big warehouse. So warehouse is a container. Again, I will go back to the old concept of container. And if anything happens, so we have a property insurance. Now property insurance, majority it covers the fire risk. Then recently all of us have experienced flooding can happen. And then it can also damage some kind of equipments that you have. And so one should look at my container. So there was a fire in your warehouse. This fire in warehouse has gutted anything and everything that was stored there. So talking about PPL again, your property was gutted. Then fortunately the fire took place when the office was, or the warehouse was closed. So there was no injury to people. Otherwise there could have been injury to people. And the third one is liability, what I spoke about, because you are in a business of a warehousing. And lot of people store their goods in your warehouse. So they would always come to you that Chirantan, you were the belly, you kept my goods in your warehouse, and because of fire in your warehouse, my goods have gutted. So I would need a liability, or I would need a compensation, and that's a liability for you.
Perfect. So I think CC and PPL are the two acronyms that everybody can remember. Container contents, and people is property, so PP is people, and third is liability. So every time you're making a decision, CC and PPL, these are the two short forms you can remember. I'm going to go a little bit specifics because while I was talking to the audience in the open networking session, they had posed some questions to me, and I thought this is an opportunity to go down that way. So can you in 30 seconds explain what key money insurance is?
Sure.
For a business? Yeah.
Yeah. See, we are SME people, and in SME, there is one person, one of the most important person on whose the entire business depends. And should something happen to this particular person, either death or there is an injury or person can get incapacitated. In that case, the entire business is at risk. We have seen many times lot of SMEs, flourishing SME, growing SME, but when the main person of that particular organization, either one of the three incidences which I mentioned happens, the whole business collapses. And there is no backup plan, plan B is not there. And that is why, obviously, when something like this happens, business collapses. So in insurance, one of the most important thing is there is going to be a big financial loss. And if this big financial loss, if it is not met with the dependents, dependents is not only family members, but also the employees. And the whole business is at risk. And the key man insurance takes care of this particular aspect, this risk. If there is something happens to the key man, then there will be compensation paid by insurance company. And this takes care of initial part. And then subsequently, obviously, there will be some plan that the family will put in place, the employees will put in place, and the business slowly will start working.
Perfect. So since we have a lot of SME owners, the question is to the audience. How many of you actually have a Keyman insurance? Please raise your hands. See, that's the realistic person, is me and Mr. James. Two people in this room have
Mahesh is there.
And Mahesh, right? Sorry, Mahesh. So you see, that's what it is. If there are 100 people in the room, only 3% really take that. And that's a very, very important. It's not an expensive insurance. It protects you if you're gone, if something is wrong, you're disabled, you can't work. It basically pays for your replacement cost. Till somebody comes in and takes over you in the business. And it's not only for business owners, Vivekji, you actually can do it for your CEO or your key person in the business.
Absolutely.
When you are working on the business and somebody else is working in the business, that person becomes a key man and you can insure them.
In fact, there can be more than one person, because the people who are very key, very important, the word key is very important for running of business, for keeping the business alive.
Thank you, Vivekji. My next question is, tell us in 30 seconds again about professional liability and a product liability.
Perfect. Now, we have a lot of professionals out here. In fact, just now, today's introduction, we have seen a yoga teacher. We have seen, we have a beautician out here, and we have someone who has given us snacks, wonderful snacks. Madam Bosle, snacks are very good. But, suppose by any chance, if something is wrong in your advice, in your preparation, if I eat something and if I suffer, that's the first thing. As a professional food supplier, there has to be a liability. So this is one. As a yoga, bad advice, architect, chartered accountant, bad advice. And that is why we have something called as professional indemnity policy. In fact, all our professionals, whether it is doctor, lawyer, architects, chartered accountants, suppliers, all of us, they have to have a professional indemnity policy. And one thing I have seen recently, all this while somehow there was not a big atmosphere like in USA, because we have people from USA and very litigious society. And there was, we had not ever heard or not heard much about the liability claims that are being filed. In fact, just the other day, there was a very major claim that has been filed against one of the chartered accountant firm by a large organization for a wrong advice about preparation of corporate tax, because there is a huge penalty and they say this penalty is there because the advice was not proper. And this PI policy is not taking care only about the possible some kind of award being passed against you, but also it takes care of the legal expenses. So because it's very expensive, and as I was mentioning, somehow I'm remembering a word Wordsworth had come up with one sentence. All these while we were knowing only right thing, right way of doing, eating, sleeping, doing all our activity. Suddenly in the life, to this word right, a letter S gets attached. So right become rights. The moment right become rights, the whole problem start. In fact, he had defined that it's a tremendous compendium of human entitlement. And believe me, the moment these rights have started, we have seen big claims where a person falls down and there was no notice board, wet floor and all those things, and huge liability has come. We have seen everywhere, in fact, food and drinks liability, big claims are coming. Architecture, in fact, not only 1 year, now for architects, they are insisting that you should have a decennial liability. That means 10 years policy has to be there, because it may not materialize on day one. So that is why you have to have a 10 years liability. We have some contractors out here, EPC contracts, again, fault in work, they will hold you responsible. Wrong advice, they will hold you responsible. In fact, every professional must have a professional indemnity insurance.
So thank you, Vivek ji. And since we have a lot of Maharashtrians and GMBF community members, I see the opening restaurant. So one question. If you run a restaurant, Sachin, Aikre Baba, if you are running a restaurant and if somebody eats something and falls sick or dies, does the professional liability covers the suit against the restaurant?
In fact, in the restaurant, we give something called as liability policy, and in the liability policy, there is an extension called food and drinks liability. And some of us, those who are in Dubai for a long time, would recollect there was one restaurant in Gisais. And in this restaurant, a food was ordered, and 2 children of one family, they consumed the food, they succumbed to the food, and in fact, for almost 4.5 years, the restaurant owner was in jail because he was not carrying a proper policy.
Oh, okay.
And obviously, what happens?
So you mean, in spite of that incident, if he had the right policy, we could have saved him from going to the jail?
Yes, because the compensation, because they demanded. See, end of the day, we cannot bring, if something happens to someone to the life, but at least the compensation, what was asked for. Because we have seen, motor accident happens if somebody dies. We cannot bring back that person, but at least there is something called as blood money that is available. But this kind of policy was not there. In fact, unfortunately, many people are still not aware about this particular aspect. In fact, my strong advice to anyone, I'm not here to sell anything. Because obviously, I don't sell anything to anyone. I have never approached any GMBF member to that, come, let's have some policy, right? But your insurance advisor, whosoever you have to ask him proper question. First of all, the insurance advisor must know if he has come to you. Say, for example, if he has come to a restaurant, he goes to Sachin. Hi, Sachin. I have an insurance policy, I want to give you, and blah, blah, blah. He will give all parrot ratting what he has learnt in training. But Sachin, and of course, Sachin has asked me this question, that is why I am taking Sachin's name. Yes, please. Absolutely. In fact, Sachin has asked the right question. Tell me what has gone wrong in the restaurant industry anywhere. Because if it has gone wrong in some other place, it can go wrong in my place as well. And that's the correct approach. And frankly speaking, maybe 70% of the people who come to you to sell insurance, they are not aware of what has gone wrong. So please ask this question, very, very important question. Now, I mean, suppose any business that you are in, please ask them question that from my industry, what has gone wrong? If you tell me, then and then only I will buy a policy from you. Otherwise, thank you for coming, take tea and go. Because otherwise, you will run into a big trouble.
Sure, and you're motivated to ask that question only when you accept that insurance is a resilience and growth strategy. Because if you're only looking at safety net, then you're going to go for the cheapest, something to protect you from a situation temporarily. But the moment your internal conversation changes to resilience and growth, the right questions will automatically pop up. So coming back to a few more right questions, Vivekji, can you give us a little bit more information about workman compensation and group life and why they are different? And I see this question is from experience, because few years of my life I only had workman compensation, and then one of the advisors advised me to have group life. So can you create the distinction for the audience of why both are important?
Absolutely.
Or if both are important?
See, first of all, as per the labor law here, workman compensation is compulsory. And workman compensation, it talks about during the work, if something happens to employee, then that particular employee needs to be compensated either for injury or for death. And there is a specified amount given in the labor law. Now, frankly speaking, this was initially working okay, but n number of cases have come where a person who was not on duty, he was taking bath in the house and he slipped in the bathroom, he had injury. He was walking, he was not going to work, he was walking and he had injury. So all this is not covered. So I'm just coming to the GLPA policy. The insurance has evolved from workman compensation to GLPA policy. Now GLPA policy is group life personal accident. So rather than workman compensation policy, one should always go for a personal accident policy. Personal accident policy, the biggest benefit is 24 hours cover is available. So not only while working, if person is not working, still personal accident policy responds. And that is why it's very essential. 24-hour cover is very important. Secondly, during the, of course, these days we have heard so many examples that person came to duty, he was working well, and suddenly in the night he suffered heart attack and the person died. I think we have heard so many examples of this. During Corona time, so many people died also, right? So it's and again, people here, they come for earning money, and again, except for 7, 8, 10% of the people who have extremely good financial position, but otherwise everybody is hand to mouth. The family is dependent back home. So what happens in case of a breadwinner dies? And it's an important responsibility of a good business owner that you should give him life cover. And that is why I said a policy which is called as group life personal accident policy. It's very important. One more aspect I just wanted to add here, the benefit of this is those who are contractors. See, because for the contractors, when they are doing contract with the government companies or anywhere, you have to submit that you have a personal accident policy. You have a WC policy, workman compensation policy. But if you produce the GLPA policy without any additional charge, insurance companies give you a certificate, the workman compensation certificate. So the compliance is done, responsibility is taken care of, and that is why GLPA is a very appropriate solution. And one more aspect, as an employee, workman compensation claim, again, as I said, again, right become rights. And this is growing. With GLPA policy, there is something called as employer's liability policy. Employer's liability policy means, suppose if the employee holds you responsible that because safety security was not good, treatment was not good, a number of things are there. And the person, the employee or employees, the family of employees, they hold you responsible. And there have been cases, the awards have come to the extent of 400,000, 800,000, 1 million, 2 million. So GLPA policy topped up with an employer's liability policy, and that gives you complete solution. So safety net, resilience, and then since you are safe, resilient, growth is automatically there.
So what I have learned personally, Vivek ji, in 25 years of my business life is there are mandatory insurances like the medical or the work, the basic medical or the workman compensation. But when we understand the overall risk and when we understand that it's a resilience and growth strategy, I have realized that when you do a top up on your insurance about things which are not mandatory, you actually have a higher retention of staff. Has anybody experienced that here? Yeah, Mahesh? Yes. Definitely, right? It impacts hugely.
So, in fact, even the GAPA, what you just said, is not mandatory.
Yeah.
If you do it gives huge confidence to all your employees.
Yes. No, definitely. I have experienced this, especially in my business, which is very labor intensive, and we have a lot of labor. When the labor knows that my owner is not just doing what is mandatory, but actually doing a little bit more and making sure that I am taken care of or my family is taken care of once I'm gone, even outside the workspace, your retention increases. So it has a lot of intangible benefits of investing a little bit more, and these insurances are not at all expensive, a little bit more, but can have a huge impact on employee retention.
And one more aspect is employer's liability also takes care of legal expenses, because these are legal cases, legal expenses are very expensive. So the employer's liability cover gives you double protection. First of all, it helps you, the lawyers will defend you that no, the employer had done everything what was necessary to be done, and still accident has happened. So legal case is taken care of, so legal expenses are off your head, and should there be any award, that award is given.
Perfect. One more specific question again. Can you tell us in next 30 seconds what business interruption insurance is?
Surely. Any business that we do, and suppose any incident happens, fire happens, theft happens, and many flooding happens, and all this impacts your business, and the business continuity stops for certain while, till such time you repair your premises or repair your machinery, and in that case the business stops. Business stops, the demand is there, but you are unable to run the business, so you are losing profit. So it's a consequential loss. So this consequential loss is something what can be covered under your property policy, and that is why this business consequential loss of profit needs to be covered. I will take one more example. All of us stay in a building, right? All of us stay in some house, either own house or most of us stay in rented house, right? Now what happens? We have seen so many fires that take place in the buildings, and after the fire, the accommodation doesn't remain tenable because you cannot stay there, because they ask you to vacate. And what happens if there is no consequential loss provision? That means alternate accommodation clause. Because if there is no alternate accommodation clause in the policies, then in that case, where will we stay? Because wherever we have to stay, we have to spend more money, right? So insurance offers that, but again, this is also an example of a consequential loss. That means alternate accommodation is possible. In fact, there are some small factory owners where suppose if there is going to take too much of time to repair and make the premises appropriate, they start business somewhere else. And in that business started somewhere else, may not be to the 100% level, but to some extent the business remains, business continuity remains, because it's a fact of the matter. See, insurance, it gives you the loss that you have suffered, but insurance does not guarantee that business what you have lost will come back to you. So it's very important that we have to be more cautious, we have to be more careful that as soon as possible our business must start, business must continue, then only our business profits will continue.
Thank you for sharing that. Slightly shifting the lane now to family. Is I think everybody knows about life insurance, but not many know about the critical insurance. And I have talked to my friends, and I think more than 95% of my friends that I've spoken to, they don't have critical illness. My understanding is life insurance you get after you're dead, so your family gets it. Critical illness is the only insurance that you get when you are alive.
Absolutely.
Can you throw some light on critical illness, please?
Critical illness like cancer and many new neurological disorders that are coming, because that also are classified under the critical illness today. In fact, there is a new development that is taking place these days. Like when you take a life policy, suppose if you have a life policy, then many companies today are offering a terminal illness clause. In fact, this terminal illness clause is, suppose if any employee is detected with a cancer and it's a terminal illness, and in that case, suppose there is, again, these are all terminal illnesses, so there is no guarantee. Why no guarantee? Rather, there is otherwise guarantee that hardly there is a possibility of 6 months continuity of the life. So it's a big problem for the employee, because every person who is our employee has a huge responsibility towards family. Many people have taken home loan, car loan, and so many things are there. That liability also is there. So in fact, one more aspect that is helping a lot of people today is when the terminal illness is detected, then insurance companies pays 50% of the sum insured before the eventual happens. And this 50% helps that employee to take care of his many major compulsory commitments. And critical illness expenses are huge. Say for example, many of us have seen, first of all, I want to ask a lot of people, since we are talking about illness, how many of you have maintained a policy in India? About 20-30%. Now this policy in India is very essential, because many of us are on visa, so 2 years, 3 years maximum, that's a visa. And if the policy is taken at a very late stage, then there can be a lot of issues. So very important that all of us must maintain, please, everyone should maintain some kind of medical policy, and not only for us, but also I've talked to so many people, their parents do not have a policy. Their parents do not have a policy, and there is a huge liability. And today, like the other day, I was in India to meet one of my friend, and there was a liver transplant required. And Chirantan, the liver transplant cost was 78 lakhs. Now, no insurance. We have not taken 78 lakhs, except for a few people who have taken some $1 million, $2 million cover. That is possible for a very elite people. But otherwise, this kind of cost is not there. And that is why right from beginning, Chirantan, we should subscribe for critical illness policy, because these are expenses which are covered. So apart from medical policy, everyone should maintain some kind of critical illness policy. Or these days, there is something new has come up, like you have umbrella. Like you have a basic policy, and on that basic policy, there is an umbrella policy that comes, and that umbrella is for the whole family. And that whole family will be covered. Say for example, if you have taken basic policy of 10 lakhs each, so you can maintain an umbrella policy of 50 lakhs, topping all the family members together.
Like the data package of Jio that you buy in India.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Correct. Very true.
So, just some of the experiences, and tell me whether that is right or not. So, I took my critical illness 15 years back for me, my wife, and my son. And recently, my advisor came and said, there is a new list of critical illness added to the critical illness domain, and that may not be covered in the previous policy. So upgrade your policy to higher limits with a new list of critical illness. Would you want to say something about that?
See, fundamental critical illness policy is sufficient in my opinion. See, because otherwise many people, like, since you're spending so much of money on your policy, insurance people will always keep coming to you that take this top up, add this, add that. But if you have fundamentally covered yourself, I think it's good enough, because
Okay.
these additions will keep coming.
Perfect. No, that's why I wanted you to.
I would not
speak about.
suggest keep on adding, because it's our end of the day, it's our business.
So I think during explaining the some other policies, I think business interruption, you did mention about the home content, and you ask us to cover alternate accommodation in the
Yes,
home content insurance, right? So I would pass that question for now. Can you tell us something about, for a layman, how do we review the policy? Like, can we customize it? Because we get insurance brokers coming to us, they would try to sell what they want to sell to us. So when I get a policy, how do I review it? And can I customize it to my requirements? That's the question.
I'll answer this with some practical cases, what I have seen. We had, again, a similar industry. There was a warehouse owner, and he had insured the warehouse for goods in the insurance, goods in the warehouse for 1 million dirhams. And when the loss took place, it was for actually the value of the goods was 6 million. Just because to save insurance or because of ignorance. Under insurance is the biggest problem that is faced. Majority of the people do not get the right claim because the properties are underinsured. So 6 million should have been the insured, sum insured. He insured it for 1 million only, and there was a loss of about 600,000. So since it was underinsured, for the percentage, like for 6 million, he insured it for only 1 million. So for 600,000, how much it will be? That is a mathematical calculation was done, and he got less than 100,000. The loss suffered by him was 600,000 plus. And how much he would have saved? Possibly few thousand rupees or few thousand dirhams in this case. So first very major important review is whether we have sufficiently insured our property, whether we have sufficiently insured our goods. That is very, very important. Second aspect is there are a lot of people who are in the manufacturing, they have machines, and these machines are running for ages together, right? Book value is almost zero for these machines. But if you want to, something happens to that machine, the production will stop. So they should insure it for new replacement value. People don't do it. Because suppose if I have a machine which was costing 100,000 7 years back, the same machine today is going to cost you at least 2 million dirhams. And since we have insured it for 100,000, should have been insured for 2 million, imagine what kind of settlement will happen. So whether you will be able to replace machine? No. The replacement of machine is not happening, and that is why my business very majorly suffers. And again, how much money is saved? Few thousand dirhams. So sum insured is very, very, very critical and very important, that must be taken care of. So that has to be reviewed. And then depending upon the type of your activity. Say for example, Chirantan, you are like Chirantan, many of us are service providers. So your employees go to third parties and they do work. Some do cleaning work, some do installation work, many works, right? And what happens in case if because of your employees act, the third party's place where they are working, if they damage it, since the policy, like typically insurance person who comes to your office, he says, third party liability policy diya hai na aapko. Now this third party liability policy is the premises risk. It doesn't cover your risk of your employee going outside and damaging something outside. So that big liability on who? Big liability on us. So this is very important. That again is a very big
That's
aspect.
covered under contractors all risk liability, right? Where your employee is working at somebody else's premises.
Contractors all risk policy. Since we are talking about review, these are the areas where people have actually losing money, lost money. And the 2 points what I have just mentioned to you, 16th April, we had loss, big rains, $700 million is what UAE has suffered losses. $700 million. Insured losses. Uninsured losses, if you take into account, it goes to about $1.6 billion. Out of these $700 million insured losses, I'm not going to mention name. Let me have a look. What is your policy? And when I saw the policy, the major covers are not there or highly underinsured. And in that case, they have no solution. They lost. Again, how much money they have saved? 50,000, not even few thousand dirhams, but they have lost. And this is a case, there are 4 live cases of GMBF people. And that's the reason why actually we thought, at least we'll speak. Today, we may not give you all the solutions, but at least that thinking had, that we have to be cautious about the risk, that we are running a risk, we have a problem at hand, and we need to address that. And insurance, safety net, growth, resilience. So it is very important. So if that is achieved, at least still, we will be saying that, the purpose of our session is achieved.
Vivekji, since you talked about depreciated value people usually put, I have a very specific question. Let's say I'm in the transport business. I have a truck which costs 200,000. After 4 years, the depreciated value is 100,000. My auto insurance is of 100,000. Can I actually insure my truck, which is book value is 100,000, for 200,000 as a replacement value? Is it possible?
No. Vehicles, you have to insure it for market value.
Okay. Market value of that vehicle. So replacement, no. Machinery you specifically
Machinery,
said,
yes.
Okay.
New replacement value. It is called as NRV, new replacement value. But vehicle, so in fact, you should
Even
ask.
though it's commercial vehicle, we cannot replace.
No. Because in that case, even if you insure for a higher value, you are not going to get that settlement, because settlement you are going to get only for market value.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Since time is pressing, I'm accelerating the questions. I think cyber insurance is an area of concern, right? How many of you, your servers got hacked and you got a ransom attack, ransom was asked? Oh wow, thank God. 3 of your clients had similar situation, right? Thank God there are only 3 people out of 100 here, but that's very common phenomena, So cyber insurance is a new field that is, people are not really aware of what to do in that situation. So Vivekji, if you can please educate us of what different types of cyber crimes are happening and what type of insurances can cover those, that will be a great value for us.
Surely. I would say, just now we talked about personal accident. Cyber crime is like virtual accident. And virtual accident, you actually get killed, because the kind of losses that happen because of virtual accident is horrible. So cyber insurance policy, one should always look out for what majoritarily it covers. Cyber insurance policy, it helps you in case if there is a cyber attack, then your data recovery or whatever losses that you suffer because of data are paid to you by the insurance company. This is one. In case if anybody is asking for ransom, that also gets paid, because if no ransom, in extreme cases, if no ransom is paid, your entire data is going to be compromised, and entire data gets compromised, your entire business is going to be compromised. So insurance company, the cyber policy has a provision of payment of ransom also. Again, this is I'm just giving you in a very, very brief manner. There are specialists, and then one more thing happens. Now, though people who are sitting on large data, they have a big prestige in the market. And the moment because I have seen there are a couple of banks, couple of schools whose data was breached, hospitals whose data was breached, these are live cases that has happened in UAE, and in that case, there was a very, very big perception problem for these, because reputation, because people somehow lose faith in you. Oh, my data is breached. School, the parents started fighting. Large supermarket chain also had an issue with regard to this. So people are not confident whether I should continue dealing with you. So here, your reputation has to be restored by sending a proper communication to the market, to the world at large. So insurance company also pays, cyber insurance policy also pays for these expenses, and for all these there are experts. For data, there are experts, insurance company gives you experts. Then for ransom, negotiators, insurance company gives you proper negotiators. In fact, they step into your shoes and on your behalf, they discuss, they talk. And there are specialized agency and content writing companies who advise you what kind of message should go to the market, and your reputation remains good and the business continuity remains. In fact, all of us, rather, I do design products for people. Rather, I'm a wholesaler, rather, I don't do any retail insurance. So I only design a product and give it to companies. So recently I have given one product to an insurance company where for a small value, all of you, because all of us get phone calls, right? All of us get spam mails that KYC is not proper, all of us get phone calls, and three, four things I have seen and I have heard very commonly, that I'm calling from police, I'm calling from legal department, I'm calling from that, and then many a times many people get worried, many people get afraid, and they terrorize you, and they actually they steal money from you. So this is one. Spam mails, hundreds of such things are happening every day. We get spam mails. Even if you by chance click one of the link by mistake, you are going to compromise a lot of money. So everyone should have a cyber policy of his own, not for the company. At least even individual cyber policy, like personal accident policy, you should have a policy for virtual accident also. That is cyber policy.
Perfect. So quickly, I'll summarize. Cyber insurance will cover your data recovery. It will cover your ransom amount that you might get asked, and it will also help you pay the expenses of the reputation management company.
Even litigation, there are a lot of litigation also happens because people will file case against you, so that litigation expenses also gets covered.
Perfect. Now, since time is pressing, I have two last questions and then we'll open for Q&A. Sir, can you throw some light on credit insurance? Because I know there are only 4 companies in Dubai who offer credit insurance. And how many of you actually avail credit insurance when you deal with clients? Fantastic. So we have, let's give them some value by understanding credit insurance.
See, credit insurance helps you to grow the business, right? Because insurance is not only an expense, in fact, it helps you to grow the business. And credit insurance is offered, again, it's a very selective insurance, but credit insurance, whenever you want to sell your goods or services to a client locally or abroad, then in that case, you are not sure whether you will be able to recover your money or no. And should you lose your money, then in that case, the credit insurance policy pays you. I'm just giving you a very broad definition of credit insurance. In fact, this credit insurance policy or credit insurers are the very, very vital source for information, and growth is very good because many credit insurers, they actually give you access to their data bank. So many of us want to do business in Africa. Many of us want to do business in other continents. So whenever you subscribe for a credit insurance or their platform, you get information on credit worthiness of your potential market, of your potential buyers, and in that case, you can confidently do the business. And this is why the credit insurer is very helpful. It's not very easy because there are a lot of parameters what a credit insurer do or look into. But yes, especially traders, they should look out for traders who are doing business or want to do business abroad, other territories, other many continents. It's very essential that you should explore. Not guaranteed that you will get that cover, but it is very essential that you should explore that possibility that whether I can get a credit insurance policy.
Thank you, Vivek. So just to summarize, if you're a trader and if you're dealing with large value items with large customers, also different geographies, then credit insurance is worth exploring because then it helps you protect your debtors, that you make sure you get your money in case your debtor client runs away, you get credit insurance pays for it. Second most important thing, as you said, is when you enter a new market, if the credit insurance company is not giving credit insurance for that customer, then you need to make sure you take advance because that means that customer is not credit worthy. So is that fair to say?
Yeah, very true, fair to say. And then it also opens up the markets to you. See, because you want to expand, we want to expand our business, then out of that list, let me try, rather than trying for my list, I will try with the list from a credit insurer. And again, this is a subscription platform. You subscribe to them, but that it's like, all of us take a lot of data from market to expand our business. So this is like, acquisition of data for a payment of fee, but then the business is assured, at least, you are a peace of mind.
Fantastic. My last question. Where do you see, what trends do you see in the next 5 years in the insurance companies, in the insurance field?
See, as we have one of the automation person out here, insurance is becoming more and more technology supported. So, say for example, vehicle insurance what we buy. In fact, I wanted to give one of few points also, check before it is too late. Some of the points I wanted to mention. Yeah. All of us drive vehicles, right? And when you have a vehicle policy, say private vehicle, let us categorize them into 4 categories: private vehicle, company vehicle, rent a car, or company leased vehicle, because company leases. These days, rather than company investing in vehicles, they lease the vehicles from a rent-a-car company. And the scenario which is very vague out here and not many people are aware, so all of you have to be careful. Now, just one question: when you drive a vehicle and if there is no third party involved means a person driving a vehicle loses control of the vehicle for any reason, not because of third party, there is no collision of any, only single vehicle involved in accident, maybe tire got deflated, and because of that, suppose if there is an accident and a person suffers a heavy injury, he doesn't die. All of us, people who come to sell you insurance, they say comprehensive insurance. Right? So what is a comprehensive insurance? Generally, it is supposed to take care of many things, but medical expenses are paid to third parties. Then they say something like you have a PAB cover, personal accident benefits. Now, it is very important for everyone to check whether the personal accident benefit is adequate. Because serious accident can cause a very huge expenses for injury treatment. I have seen, in fact, about 10 cases I have seen where the person suffered a very serious injury, and one of the person gave him comprehensive policy. The buyer doesn't know, the seller doesn't know, and hospital has refused to release them because the policy doesn't cover, because driver is not third party. Is driver third party? See, because generally the compensation gets paid to third party. Driver is not third party. He is the first party. He himself has caused an accident to the vehicle. And so unless there is appropriate amount is given towards medical expenses in the policy, in the PAB, or at least the medical policy what they have. In fact, all of you have taken group medical policy also. So, group medical policy, Chirantan, doesn't cover accident expenses. Road accident expenses are excluded in most of the policies. So, if you see many policies, there is hardly any cover of 5,000, 10,000 dirham injury, immediate treatment expenses are there. And beyond that, there is nothing. So, very important that check with your insurers tomorrow itself, that whether company, now you have company vehicles. Now company vehicles, again, the driver, do they have sufficient cover? Employees. Incidentally, like there is a rent-a-car here. The law is little tricky out here. Rent-a-car companies are there, and since Dubai is a destination of tourists, rent-a-car company gives you vehicle, that driver is considered as third party. If you rent a vehicle and drive a vehicle, then the driver is third party. But the passengers are not third parties. Private car, driver is not third party. And third party has sufficient unlimited expenses because death cover is there for everyone, 200,000. So whether there is appropriate wording in the policy which takes care of the medical expenses, I think this is very crucial. Everyone needs to check.
I think it's very crucial because Vivekji, last week you told me this, and I just as a test I went to my friend who drives a Maybach, which is a 1 million dirham worth of car, and I asked him to open his policy and check whether his policy covers. He's paying a lot of premium because the car costs more than 1 million dirham. So we checked his policy, and his PAB was 3,000 dirhams. This guy doesn't go anywhere beyond American hospital. Imagine he ends up in an accident, his medical cover under the car policy is 3,000 dirhams.
It's a very serious question, serious problem, or serious, I would say, lapse, or if it is covered, then it is fine. We need to be careful. See, forewarned is forearmed. That's very important. In insurance, very essential that you have to be forewarned. So, I'm just giving you one clue. This is very crucial. So, for your company vehicles, also check it. If there is sufficient cover, fine. But if it is not there, then we have to make some provision that it has to be there.
So, Vivekji, coming back to the trends, are there any 1 or 2 or 3 trends that you can see in the next 5 years in the insurance?
Yes. A couple of you may be aware that few insurance trends have our government has started. There is a compulsory insurance for job loss. Right? All of you are aware. There is a job loss insurance available. This job loss insurance has to be taken by individuals, employees, not by the employer. Employer is compulsory, has to take medical policy for the employees, but not the job loss cover. Now, very briefly, these job loss covers, they have categorized this into 2 categories, below 16,000, above 16,000 salary. And in job loss cover, if somebody, it is called as involuntary loss of employment, not somebody who resigns, no, but somebody is terminated. Then in that case, the terminated employee can get a job loss cover, because then only you can call it job loss, right? If I resign, it's not job loss. It's a voluntary, I have resigned, then it is voluntary. But involuntary loss of employment, so government has given this. So there is a cover available that 60% of your basic salary, you get a cover for 3 months. And the cover is 10,000 or 20,000. Depending upon 16,000 bracket, maximum benefit for 3 months, he can get for 10,000. And for 16,000 plus people, maximum benefit they can get is 20,000. But this is for 3 months. But for that, one condition is there, like otherwise many conditions. Number 1 is, it has to be continuous employment for 1 year. Otherwise, people will be recruited, there will be scam. People will be recruited, people will be fired, and then there will be a job loss cover.
So that means if that employee is terminated within the first year of his contract, he is not eligible to get the employee job loss insurance.
That's right. That's right. And one more thing, he should not be terminated for wrong reasons. Like, there is a fraud
Not
or
under
anything
Article
that is-
120.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I add something to that from the employer side? So we have faced a situation where employees are supposed to take this insurance. This is our 80 dirhams or 120 dirhams, not very expensive. 59, okay. So if the employee doesn't take that insurance, still employer's labor account gets blocked. And then the fee to open your account is 400 dirhams. So it's better off that you actually do the insurance for the employee and deduct it from the salary. That way you as an employer are securing yourself.
Yeah, and the cost is 60 dirham and 120 dirhams.
Yeah, but the employer, for him to reopen the file, is 400 dirhams. So the math just doesn't work.
This is Vijay Prabhakar, Chairman of the Global Strategic Alliance in the United States of America from Chicago. I'm very excited to be here in Dubai. And today we are at the Maharashtra Business Forum Global event with its dynamic president, Mr. Sunil Manjerkar. GSA and GMBF
Global.
I'm sorry, GMBF Global are entering into a memorandum of understanding to do collaborative events in US, in Dubai and in India together. You all know that GMBF has done MahaBiz very successfully over the last 15 years, once in 2 years, where they bring together leaders from all walks of life together under one platform. What we plan to do is to bring the North American angle to this Gulf Business Maharashtra Forum Global.
So thank you, Dr. Vijay Prabhakar ji, and we are very happy you are here today, and we are very glad that you given the speech today, and then our members are quite excited to join hand with you, and they will also get the platform in USA and North America region, and it will definitely enhance their businesses, and because GMBF main objective is to enhance the businesses in various countries, and we are getting the right partner, GSA.
Very good evening to all of you. I am Srinivasan Lingeshwaran from Global Welfare Foundation, India. For the last 5 years, we are into various community services to upgrade the life standards of less privileged of the society.
Namaskar. My name is Swati Kharkar and I am a GMBF member, a proud GMBF member I will say, because here they have every month there is a meeting and I love to attend that because every time they invite some big businessmen or some entrepreneurs and we get to know so much from them. Today's event was also really nice and we got so much information about the insurance thing.
Hi, my name is Nikita and I am from MNH Real Estate. I'm a real estate agent in Dubai and this is my first time at this event which is called GMBF Global, and I must say I'm very impressed with how people are networking and how this event is so knowledgeable, and you come across a lot of people and you can socialize and you can get to know different businesses over here.
Hi, I'm Gomti Sitaraman. I'm the founder of my company Arogya Yatra, which is in the space of health and wellness. That is, we do yoga and nutrition team building activities. I've been a part of GMBF last 2 years, and I have to tell you, this is one of the most interesting platforms I work with. On the fun side, I get to speak a lot of people in Marathi and improve my Marathi. But in the business event, this is a great platform for me to connect with people, and with the new introduction of members introducing themselves, I think it's a great way for us to connect with each other.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Neelam Nandedkar. We have a company called Prudential Auditing as well as Prudential Accounting. It's an audit as well as an accounting firm. I'm a GMBF member from this 1 year, but connected with GMBF from a long time. Today's session, Insurance Demystified, was a wonderful session. Gave a lot of information about insurance, about many other things, how we should go about. In fact, I would say all the GMBF sessions that has been held every month are wonderfully done. In fact, last session of NRI taxation, that was another good one.
Hi, I'm Nishant Pandit and I'm in the IT field, Today we had the GMBF session here on insurance demystified, and this was about understanding insurance implications and all the plans that are sort of there.